Dead meme.
Hey everyone, good to see you again. It's Dead Meme. We're going to cover a bit more Astroneer, another concise tutorial similar to the one I did yesterday. We're just going to cover the bare basics, so we're going to jump straight in. So I want to cover the furnace and refining materials. So if you look here, I've got the recipe for the furnace here. And let's move this aside, and this is what it looks like. You're going to print it in this printer over here. As you can see, we've got the outline, and we've already pulled the material directly off of its storage because it's contained within this platform. And we'll make it do its thing. We don't need to repeat. So, while that's working away, these are materials that can be refined into additional substances. So, for the most part, like, they don't have much of a use until you put them through the furnace, except for like organic and quartz have uses. So you throw it on there, but as you can see, nothing happens. So just like some of the other equipment and devices, you'll need to turn it on. So just hold your cursor over it, hit F, and it'll start cooking away. So some of these components on the next machine we're going to look at, the soil centrifuge, we're going to need a refined piece of equipment. We're going to need aluminum. And as we can see, we just got some from smelting a mineral underground. We'll take a look at those in a few moments. But as you can see, this is the crafting recipe for the soil centrifuge. 2 compound and an aluminum. Let's just turn you off. So what this machine refines is soil, and soil you can get from filling up these canisters. As you can see, some of that gauge is filled up. With your terrain tool active, by pushing E, go over to some soil, left click and hold it down. You'll notice that there is kind of like a little ring that appears over the reticule, and it's slowly filling up as I eat up the terrain. So there's a couple of uses for this, like you can hold down Alt and put it back and make bridges, or you can hold down left control and you can flatten. But what we're really interested in is putting it in this machine. So this is the soil centrifuge. You could use this to get many of the base materials of the game, like clay, quartz, ammonia, compound. And the way this works, the more you fill it up, the higher this bar will be. So I've nearly filled it up to max. This means I can get 7 resin if I were to order this machine to do whatever. Let's look at, see, like ammonia. This is used for rocket fuel. It requires you to pretty much have a full gauge. Or there's graphite, which requires half to make one. And so you would activate that, and it'll consume what you've given it. You can pick your canister back up to go back out into the world. And it'll spin, and it'll cycle through, and it'll eventually create the material and deposit it on the little platforms here. We could do this to supply it with space. So where do these canisters come from? Pretty simple. Base material. You could take your resin, and you can cycle through your backpack. Small canister. And you could access the backpack by pushing Q. There we go, we've printed. There you go. It's created compound for us. So, nice, simple, easy tool to gain access to some of the base materials. You've seen me put things in this crafting station through the storage here. So if we look at my bag, I also have the materials required, and I'm carrying them on my person. So you can even use the printer in the same fashion. It'll just feed directly from your inventory and begin the process. So I'm going to show you what some of these materials look like, because it's great that I could show you smelting copper and clay and all these other things, but what's the point if you don't know where they come from? So I'm going to pause, I'm going to go to a few areas that I found, and I'm going to show you what they look like in the biomes in which you should look. Okay, so again, I'm in creative mode, and as you can see, I'm flying over this big mountain range. And I've found some copper. So this is what it looks like. And if you mine this up, we'll get that weird looking spiky orange greeny metal. There's enough of it here. There you go, malachite. So that's what copper looks like. This is the easiest place to find it. You can find it underground, but it's going to be underneath a mountain. And while we're really close by, here's clay. Kind of looks like brown lumpy things that are just sticking out of the earth. You'll find it commonly in spaces like this in like an open field where it's kind of flat. And if you dig it up, you'll get clay. And clay turns into ceramic, which is used in more advanced recipes. As you can see, if you dig down, it's pretty common to find more of the material underneath. But we're going to move on to the next one. I'll be back shortly. So we're going to go underground. We're going to find where many of the refinable resources typically are, where you're going to find many of them. You can find this sort of thing on the surface on certain planets, but it's just on the beginning planet, you're going to have to go underground to, say, find laterite. And laterite, this is what it looks like. If we mine a bunch of it up, as you can see, laterite. And it's an aluminum material, so that's what you throw in the smelter to get aluminum. This is our glowy snail, Sylvie. Normally, it's way darker down here, but I've spawned a bunch of these guys in so that we can see. Here we go. Here's some sphalerite. It kind of looks like a ball that's partially broken with jagged stuff in the center. And sphalerite turns into zinc. And as you can see, there's plenty of it underground if you know where to look. The other one that we would like to look at is quartz. It kind of looks like a purple pillar. We'll mine it up. Oh, we didn't get a full block of it. But luckily, if you just mine down, there's typically a little bit more. Well, I guess not. Well, we'll have to play pretend. Alright, I did a quick look around, found a bit more quartz. We'll absorb it, and there we go. We got some quartz. So some materials that can be refined also have like a base use, like I can turn this quartz into a beacon. And the beacons are those weird little sets of lights that I've put out in the world to make it easier for me to find things. Here you go. And you could change the color by holding your cursor over them and pushing F. This is a bit of a side tangent, but I thought I'd just throw it in there. Alright, very quick recap. Refine materials, throw them onto your furnace. As long as the furnace is on, you can look at it. You can push F to turn it on or off. There you go. With these refined materials we get, like such as the copper and the glass, you can make advanced buildings, or you could take aluminum and resin and make the soil centrifuge. This will get you the ability to get many of the base resources in the game with just a little bit of soil dug up from the ground. Remember, you take your reticule with a canister and your bag and just eat up the earth. And we can take these lovely materials and we can print something more useful. With these advanced materials, we can build a more advanced power plant, such as the larger solar panel, our good friend here, which is 4 times more powerful than this one. But I think we've covered refining and the basics of the soil centrifuge. I'll come back with something else. Hopefully you enjoyed hanging out, and I'll talk to you again soon.